The mining colony on Kepler 442b had exactly 47 human inhabitants before the Vrexian raiders arrived. 48, if you counted the AI that ran the atmospheric processors, but Captain Elsa Chen had long since stopped thinking of MERV as just a machine. "Contact in 11 minutes, MERV announced through the colony's speakers, his voice carrying that peculiar blend of concern and calculation that Elsa had programmed into his emotional matrix. 3 Vrexian corvettes, standard raider configuration. They're burning hard for orbital insertion. Elsa stood in the colony's cramped command center, her reflection ghosting across the holographic display that showed the incoming ships as angry red triangles. She was 34, lean from low gravity and rationed meals, with the kind of calloused hands that came from fixing things that weren't meant to be fixed. Behind her, Adam Rodriguez checked the seals on his environment suit for the 3rd time. "We can't fight 3 corvettes," Adam said. He was the colony's chief engineer, younger than Elsa by 6 years, with dark eyes that had seen too many equipment failures to believe in easy solutions. "Our defense grid was designed for micrometeorites, not military-grade plasma cannons." "I know." Elsa pulled up the colony schematic, her fingers dancing through holographic corridors and life support nodes. Kepler 442b was a marginal world, barely within the habitable zone, with an atmosphere that would kill you in minutes without filtration. The colony itself was a warren of tunnels carved into a mesa 3 levels deep, with only 2 access points to the surface. 2 choke points. "Get everyone to the nursery," Elsa said. "Now." The nursery was what they called the underground greenhouse, though it had started as a joke. 18 months ago, 3 families had arrived with 7 children under the age of 10. Elsa had spent her off-shifts teaching them zero-G handball in the hub, showing them how to read star charts, playing hide-and-seek in the maintenance tunnels while their parents worked the extractors. She taught them every hiding spot in the colony. Adam hesitated. "Elsa, if we cluster everyone in one place." "Trust me," she met his eyes, "and get the emergency bulkheads ready, the manual ones, not the electronic." Understanding flickered across his face. "The air locks." "Every single one." The Vrexians came down in ballistic pods, crude and efficient. Their species had mastered fusion drive centuries before developing what humans would call ethics. They were bipedal, roughly humanoid, with chitinous plates that could stop small arms fire. They'd been raiding human colonies on the frontier for 3 years, always hitting worlds too remote for naval protection, taking whatever wasn't bolted down and sometimes the people too. They'd never hit a world where someone fought back smart. Elsa watched them land through external cameras, counting. 32 raiders, maybe 35, armed with plasma rifles and breaching charges. They'd expect terrified miners, maybe some token resistance, then surrender. MERV, seal surface access point Alpha on my mark. Route all environmental controls to my board. Acknowledged, MERV replied. Elsa, I should note that concentrating all colonists in the nursery creates a single point of failure. It also makes one hell of a fortress if you know what you're doing. She switched to colony-wide comms. This is Chen. Raiders are on the ground. Protocol hideaway is active. All personnel to nursery immediately. Adams will guide you. Move. Through the cameras, she watched the Vrexians approach access point Alpha, the main entrance, a cargo airlock big enough to drive an excavator through. They'd stack up there, breach it, flood in. Standard shock tactics. Adam's voice crackled over her headset. Everyone's in. Bulkheads are sealed. Elsa, what are you doing up there? Playing hide-and-seek. She smiled, though he couldn't see it. Remember when little Maya found that gap in the maintenance tunnel, the one behind the air scrubber? That was too small for adults. Exactly, but it connected to the vent system, which connects to everywhere. She pulled up the environmental schematic again, tracing pathways with her finger. MERV, How long can you keep those corvettes in orbit? Their threat posture suggests they won't fire on the colony while their ground team is inside. Too valuable as hostages or labor. Good, let's make them regret landing at all. The Vrexians blew the outer door of access point Alpha at 14:23 local time. Elsa was 3 levels down and 200 meters away, tucked into a service crawl space that the children had dubbed the Dragon's Throat, because of how the air recyclers roared when you were inside it. She had a tablet, a maintenance toolkit, and Adam's spare sidearm that she hoped she wouldn't need. She watched the raiders pour through on her tablet's screen, 12 of them in the first wave. They moved with military precision, weapons up, scanning for targets, finding none. Clear, one shouted in Vrexian. MERV translated in real time, the text scrolling across her screen. They advanced deeper, toward the main hub where the central elevator descended to the lower levels. Elsa waited until they were 20 meters past Alpha access, well inside the blast door threshold. MERV, she whispered. Seal Alpha behind them, vent corridor C7 to exterior. The emergency bulkhead slammed down with the finality of a tomb ceiling. The raiders spun around, confused, as their exit vanished behind 3-ton blast doors. Then the maintenance hatches along corridor C7 blew open, and Kepler 442b's toxic atmosphere rushed in nitrogen, carbon dioxide, trace amounts of sulfur compounds that would corrode their equipment and burn their respiratory systems. The raiders fell back toward the hub, masks deploying, but they were already panicking. Elsa cycled the vents, drawing the poison air through the filtration system while sealing the next corridor section. She was hurting them, pushing them toward access point Beta. Adam's voice in her ear. Second team's breaching Beta, 20 raiders, maybe more. Perfect, let them in. Elsa. I taught the cubs hide and seek, Adam. Rule number 1, make the seeker look where you want them to look. The Vrexian commander was named Krextel, and he was beginning to understand he'd made a mistake. His first team was trapped in a maze of corridors that seemed to reconfigure around them. Air vents opened and closed, flushing toxic atmosphere, forcing them to retreat, advance, split up. His second team had entered through the southern access and immediately lost contact with the first. Where are the humans? He snarled into his comm. No contact, Commander. These tunnels, they're not on our scans. There are gaps in the infrastructure. Because children played there, Krextel didn't know. Because a human woman had encouraged them to explore every crack and crevice, turning the colony into a 3-dimensional playground that existed in the spaces between the official blueprints. His third problem arrived when the first team finally reached the central hub and found the elevator shaft sealed. The fourth problem was the sound, a deep, rhythmic thumping from below that his tactical AI couldn't identify. It sounded almost like music. Check lower levels, he ordered. That's when the lights went out. Elsa moved through the colony like a ghost, using tunnels too small for armored raiders, emerging only to reroute power, seal doors, open vents. MERV coordinated with machine precision, but the creativity was all human, the understanding that fear and disorientation were weapons as potent as plasma. The nursery's blast doors were 6 meters of reinforced titanium ceramic composite designed to protect the colony's life support core. The raiders reached it on level 3, found it impregnable, and started cutting. It would take them an hour. Elsa gave them 15 minutes before she struck again. MERV, overload plasma conduit J7, make it look like battle damage. The explosion rocked the colony, and suddenly the raiders were facing a new threat. Their own weapons fire had seemingly destabilized the power grid. Emergency containment kicked in, sealing entire sections. The group at the nursery door found themselves cut off from their fellows, trapped in a corridor with only one exit, back the way they came, where Elsa had vented the oxygen and replaced it with argon. They retreated, stumbling as their sensors screamed warnings. Two collapsed before the others found masks. They fled toward Beta Access, where the second team was already pulling back. "This is a trap," someone shouted in Vrexian. "The whole colony is a weapon." Krextel tried to rally them, but humans had taught him a lesson the Vrexian Empire had forgotten. The defender who knows every corner, every weakness, every secret passage has already won. You can't conquer what you can't pin down. Adam's voice. "They're retreating to their pods." "Let them run," Elsa said. She was tired, her hands shaking from adrenaline. "But not before they deliver a message." When the Vrexian corvettes finally departed, they carried no loot, no prisoners, and 32 humiliated raiders who'd been outmaneuvered by miners. They also carried Krextel's report, which MERV had helpfully allowed to transmit. Human colony defends with asymmetric infrastructure warfare. Casualties minimal but psychological impact severe. Recommend blacklisting all human mining installations. These prey items think like predators. Elsa emerged from the dragon's throat to find Adam waiting with the others. The children ran to her, Maya hugging her legs, shouting about how the bad aliens ran away. "You turned the whole colony into a game," Adam said quietly. "Hide and seek." "And they were seeking in all the wrong places." She ruffled Maya's hair. "Never underestimate what you can learn from cubs." Above them, through the mesa's transparent dome, 3 red triangles receded into the black. The colony had held, not through firepower, but through understanding terrain, through patience, through the simple human truth that Elsa had learned teaching children. The best hiding spot is the one your enemy doesn't know exists, and the best weapon is the one they walk into themselves. MERV, she said. "Log this for the Colonial Defense Network. Title it Chokepoint Doctrine." "Logged," MERV replied. "Shall I include the part about hide and seek?" Elsa smiled, "Especially that part." "And